wanted to go live to talk about things like Substack, and also if you're considering switching marketing platforms, if like the platform that you used to use is no longer working for you, or if you were on something like TikTok and that was your main platform, and now with the looming ban or potential for another ban, you're worried that you need to have some more stability with the marketing platform that you're using for your business. I wanted to share this because I wasn't using TikTok for my business. However, I did have a significant following over there, and I was actually just about to start using it this year, thinking that it would be a good strategy. So when the TikTok ban happened and then unhappened, I was like, oh, this is extremely unstable. And every year, if you guys can recall, they've been talking about doing that to that particular platform. And so I was already kind of shopping around for a different marketing platform and channel. And then I know so many people who were kind of doing the same with their businesses. So I wanted to give you some advice and also just share kind of some of my experiences with switching marketing platforms, especially if, again, you were one of the people who were using like something like TikTok and that was making you revenue, or you're feeling like the platforms that you used to use, you don't have the energy or the capacity to manage them anymore, but it also was where you were making your money. It can be pretty scary to think about changing to something completely different. And so when you're making this decision, one of the things I want you to think about or not worry about is the pressure that like I'm starting over and now I have to build an entirely new audience. Today, sorry, I'm looking down. I'm about to make something for my baby to eat. So I'm also prepping food. So I'm going to put my phone down on the stand. Something for you to consider and not worry so much about is the following. Like I have to start over from scratch. That's going to put a lot of unnecessary pressure on you, because a lot of these marketing platforms are search based, meaning that people are going to find you just from them looking for the words that you're using or the topic that you're talking about. So they're going to find your account anyway. And I was giving this example today because today in Revolutionary Society, we were going over data and analytics for marketing because it's the end of the month and I want them to prepare for it. And I asked them what platforms they're on, and a lot of them are on LinkedIn. And so when I was showing them LinkedIn specifically has a section of analytics where it shows you the words that people were searching or how they found you. And a lot of people would find people through search. And I said, it's because LinkedIn was originally for people to find jobs, for people to find employees. So it's a search platform. It's like an internal search platform like Pinterest or YouTube is. So a lot of times you're worried about a following, but you really don't need it on a lot of these social networks. And so when you're thinking about switching a platform, I don't want you to always feel like, damn, if I switch this platform, now I have to build a following, because most of the time that doesn't matter. And then even when it comes to something like Instagram, where, yeah, you do need a following, you can still be found without one. And the example that I gave with that today is I was showing them the analytics of Instagram. And on Instagram, you can see how much of the content that you put out there was seen by your followers and how much was seen by non-followers. And I was telling them, if you have a low following on Instagram, or the current following doesn't align with what you do now, like maybe you used to do something different and now you've changed, or maybe who you're targeting is completely different, or maybe you just switched your industry or your business model. I wanted them to know that that doesn't matter, because if you do the kind of content that's good for like a cold audience, like assuming that people don't know you, you will still get people to see your content on Instagram even if they don't follow you. And so that pressure, again, to have a following doesn't even matter. So that's why I want, if you're considering to switch marketing platforms, that you go ahead and just do it. If that's going to be better for you, if it's going to be better for you in the sense that you'll be more consistent with your marketing because that platform is less pressure, or it's in a communication style that you're better at talking in or communicating in, or like, for example, a lot of my clients in the membership is like moving over to Threads, but they're moving to Threads from Instagram because it's so much easier. Like, it's stream of consciousness content. You don't need graphics. It's not like a lot of pressure. You don't have to be on video. And so for a lot of them, it's been so much easier. And with it being easier, they're showing up and doing more of the content, right? And I told them that's more important. If I can just get you to show up and do the marketing, then switching the platform might have been the best decision that you can make. And so, hey y'all, I literally just got started. I'm just kind of like laying the groundwork for what I wanted to talk about. And so one of the first things that I said is if you are thinking about switching platforms, I think, especially if it's a better business decision for you or energetically, like maybe the platform is easier for you to manage. And if it is easier, you'll do it more, like you'll be more consistent with your marketing. But usually the fear is, oh, I have to start over and building my following. A lot of these platforms don't necessarily need you to have the following. Yes, it looks nice to have the following, but most of the marketing platforms, social media, blogging, not necessarily podcasts, but like your YouTube, any of these channels that you decide to go to, LinkedIn, they're all pretty much based off of search or something like even Threads, which is so much easier. A lot of my members have been switching over to Threads. But Threads shows your content to everyone because the algorithm is really strongly based on whatever you engage with. It'll show you so much of that. So people will just discover you regardless. So you don't need followings. And so I wanted to encourage people that if you're thinking about switching marketing platforms, to just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to start off by talking about Substack as just an option that I don't know if people are noticing yet, and I'm shocked by it because I didn't know anything about it until recently. And as soon as I got on there, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the next thing. I think that's a long-term thing for business owners. And I'm going to share why. By the way, it doesn't cost anything to use Substack. And what I think we all think Substack is, or what people have heard about Substack is, I think people think that Substack is like for blogging, and it's a way for you to blog without having your own blog website. Like I think people think of it like it's Medium. It's not anything like Medium. I mean, in a sense, you can do the same stuff, but it's so much better than Medium. What it reminds me of is old school Tumblr. And if you didn't use Tumblr back in the, I'm older. I'm 39. Tumblr back in the day, what was so fun about it is it was at the time when blogging was really popular, and it was like a blog and like MySpace and like Facebook, like all in one. And so when Tumblr was a thing, the reason why it was so cool was because in your feed you would see whole post that looked like a blog, or then it would just be a GIF, or it would be a video, or it would be just pictures. And that's that multimedia cool factor that made Tumblr really cool. And so when I got to Substack, seeing that it's like that but for business owners and journalists and writers, I was like, this is a really huge opportunity for us to not only own our content because you can monetize it, but for you can also move your podcast and have your podcast there, which I ended up doing. But it's an opportunity for you to own your audience. And I know that the TikTok ban really hit me, not because I was using it for my own business, like it didn't affect my business. I have an account there and I have a lot of followers because I went viral for something so stupid. So I got clients from it, but the TikTok ban got to me because I know they kept saying they were going to take it away, but when it got taken away, even though it was temporary, it was so shocking to me because I was thinking like, damn, I know a lot of people who make all their money from TikTok, like for their business, not playing, not even just content creators, which is also a business, but not even just those people. There's like, I was teaching a class for the United Way this over the summer. And those people were local business owners in the city of Denver. And those people, a lot of them had e-commerce businesses and all kinds of things where they were local businesses. And a lot of those people were using TikTok for their business. And we had already known that the TikTok was at risk for being banned. So I had already been giving them strategies like, hey, I don't know if TikTok, which I did not think was going to happen, but I was like, because TikTok, this is better lighting. I was like, because TikTok is at risk for being banned, I don't want you to only post to TikTok. So I had already started preparing them to diversify. Like, hey, if you're going to post it on TikTok, post it on Instagram, or post it if you don't like Instagram and put it on YouTube, shorts or whatever. But when that happened, I was like, any of these apps could do that to us. And so because any of them could do that at any moment, I thought I wanted to look into other options where you can own your content. And I'll tell you some of the options that I looked into that I've been hearing about. So Blue Sky is on something called an AT protocol. I'm not a tech person, so I'm not going to try to explain it. I've read about it, but I'm not going to try to explain it. I don't even understand. But essentially, because it's on this thing called an AT protocol, you own your account and you have a private key for it. And there's a bunch of these little networks that are not owned. It's just like an open network, and you can move your profile and your account and you can jump from network to network, but that same key can be used anywhere, which is really cool. And so they're also not owned by like corporations or CEOs, so anyone and everyone can use them. And I thought about that, but it felt overwhelming. And so that wasn't an option. And then I had been looking at Substack, and I know a lot of people who were going to Substack. And one of the reasons why I wasn't thinking about Substack for my business or telling my clients, because I teach and I have a marketing membership. So I'm usually using all of the platforms so that I can advise all of my clients on whichever platform they want to use. I should know about them, right? But one of the reasons why I wasn't thinking about Substack is because I thought it was a blog. And because I thought it was a blog, I was like, you should blog on your own website because you already own your website. So why would you go on another platform to own another thing when you could just monetize in your own space? It's because I didn't get it. So I looked at Substack, and not only can you monetize an audience, but because it's an app like how we use Instagram or TikTok or any of these social platforms, because it's an app like that and it's like kind of like social, when you put content on there, it actually gets shown to other people. And it's like Medium, where people can share your article and then people can subscribe to your publication. Essentially, they're calling what you do, they're not calling it a blog, they're calling it a publication there. You can also host your podcast on there for free, which I thought was pretty cool. When you do posts, they can be multimedia. So you can do a post that's literally just text, like a blog, like blog length. You can embed an MP3 audio only, not a podcast even. You don't have to even have a podcast. You can just put an audio file, which I did today. I tested that today. You can do live video. I've seen people going live on there, which I thought was pretty cool. You could do pre-recorded like video clips, vertical, horizontal, it doesn't matter. And because it does have the blog feature or the article feature, you can embed your YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, this is really something. So that's why I said it's kind of like Tumblr. And then you can have public content and then content that's behind a paywall, so that you have you can have content that's just like for VIP members or VIP subscribers. So now you can monetize that content. And I was like, this is a really huge opportunity for people like us who are on this platform, who have I grew my business through Instagram. I grew my business really well from Instagram and having my website and leveraging like my email. I grew my business because of Instagram though. And I was like, imagine doing that through something like that, where it's built for monetization and there's no tech behind it. Like it's all in that one platform. Like I moved my whole podcast over and it took me like 2 seconds to do that. My whole podcast, 64 episodes, instant. And I was paying for my podcast to be hosted on Buzzsprout. And now for free, I'm hosting it over on Substack for free. Still get insights. It's still an RSS feed. It's still pushed to Apple and Spotify and all those things. So now my podcast, I have a whole site. So now I didn't have to build my podcast site or update my show it or anything. And you can also have, again, publications and different things in there. When you're writing blog posts, you can collab with people and have them be represented as authors, co-authors with you. Like think about the amount of collaborations you can do with brands, with other business owners, like how we speak in other people's communities. Imagine co-authoring something, an article that someone has. I've seen some people who have like 32,000 subscribers. Imagine collaborating with someone on a platform like that. And all of these, it's not like what I like and why it's different from social media, but almost the same, is that there's a feed and all that stuff. It looks like social media, but anytime someone subscribes, which they have to keep up with your publication, they have to subscribe. They get emails when you post. So unlike Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok, when you post, they have to log into that app to know that you posted. But on something like a Substack, when you post, these followers are alerted in the app and via email. That kind of visibility is something that, again, is one of the few opportunities that you have to control your content. What sparked your move to Substack? Was there a specific pain point? Hold on, my kid's being loud because he said some things. So I'm not fully moving, but yes, I will share that the main thing, thank you, baby. The main reason that I wanted to start the Substack, so I'm not completely moving, just to let you know. But you know, when that TikTok ban happened, even though I wasn't using TikTok for my business, I started thinking about how, you know, the stuff with Meta really bothered me. Like the things that they're saying about the CEO, like all that stuff started bothering me. And a lot of people that I know, when I started my business, a lot of people that I know used to use it so much more, including me. And you know what I noticed is a lot of us aren't using it anymore, but that's where I got all my leads. And I was thinking this is really going to affect business owners. It wasn't just affecting the people who are on TikTok. It's affecting us because now we're hearing stuff about Meta, and that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. So then a lot of the users are not using this platform as often. And even the people who are using it, haven't you know, I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you haven't, but engagement has been really low. And so I wanted to have a social platform, but that allowed ownership. And the thing about Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, you don't have any ownership in any of that stuff, but on Substack you do. You have your publication, you can pull all that data off of there, import it somewhere else, like a website. You own it, just like you do your website and your podcast. You own that stuff. You can also monetize it. So that's what sparked it. And also because Substack has an app and it's like a social networky type app, you also get exposure just from being in the app. So it didn't feel like starting completely over, because as soon as you post something, a bunch of other people get exposure to you who you wouldn't know, and you don't have to like market yourself. Like you can just post. So that's all. I just thought it was a really cool opportunity. I just wanted to check it out, and it turns out that it was a smart move. So I just wanted to share that with you all. If you, and it may not be Substack for you. Maybe you guys were on TikTok and maybe you decided, you know, I want to switch over to LinkedIn, or I want to start doing Threads. Any of those platforms are great. If you're thinking about doing it, I wanted to say to just go ahead and make that move. I'm happy that I'm giving myself other options, and I wanted to test it out because I think that I work with a lot of entrepreneurs with just different personalities, and not everybody wants to be on social media necessarily. Like I know a lot of clients who are better at writing, or they maybe would like to just do an audio, but maybe not a full podcast. Like think about the opportunity on something like a Substack. You can embed just an MP3 file inside of what looks like a blog post and just put that up. Like it makes it so much easier for like multimedia posts. And it's still long form content, so you're getting SEO. It has SEO built into it too. And I just think it's a really huge opportunity to monetize and continue to have your brand in your business. It's another business, a revenue generating part of your business that you're not really setting up anything for, because you can have content that's public and content that's private that only people who subscribe to and pay for their subscription get access to, which I think is pretty cool. So I'll be testing it over the next few weeks, but I've already posted quite a few things over there, and I did move my podcast. So I think that it's going to be a really big, it reminds me just of Tumblr, but for business. That's how I would describe it, Tumblr for business. And I just know that a lot of people, I had a lot of clients last year, like have babies, and also just kind of feel kind of like how I felt in 2023, like, man, my energy has just changed and business is really important to me, but how I show up on it needs to look different. And with that usually comes a change in maybe the platforms that you're using. And if that's the case for you, I just wanted you guys to know that there are a lot of options out there that you may not be exposed to. Like maybe you were using X and now X is just trash. Well, there's Threads now, there's Blue Sky, and there's an audience on these platforms. Or maybe you were using TikTok and now you're like, I might make the move to Instagram. Okay, then let's do it, or, maybe before you were doing video, but you're like, I don't want to be on camera, but I'm better at talking. Maybe it's podcast season for you. You know what I mean? Like, there are just so many opportunities, and I hope that people just go for it. Like, I didn't really make a big deal. I literally popped up on a Sunday, literally this past Sunday, and I was like, I'm going to make the Substack. And I made the Substack. No hesitation, no overthinking, no nervousness, no over branding. Like, I made a quick little logo for myself inside of Canva. I made it just with text and then one little icon, and that was it. I just want you all to know that there are options for your business, and some of these options might be better than what we were using before. I think that this is going to be a huge opportunity for more serious leads and more serious brand partnerships and discovery, and opportunities for you to build your brand as a speaker, for media attention. And I'm saying that because specifically for Substack, a lot of journalists who are leaving big media have moved over there. A lot of people from TV stations as well, again from big media, have left, and they have gone on to Substack, and legit journalists and stuff. And I was thinking a lot of authors and just different really big serious people have moved to it, and a lot of politicians and just different things, but good people have moved over to this Substack area. I've seen a lot of CEOs for really cool companies making Substacks as well, because as I was in there, you can discover, it lets you see other companies and other publications that you can subscribe to. And I was like, damn, there's some really cool stuff in here. I think it's one of those things that it's an early adoption situation. And I think this is the new wave of early adoption that we might miss again, not thinking about it, how we missed maybe TikTok because we thought it was for 20-year-olds or teenagers dancing. It's that. I see Substack as the thing, the next wave of something big, but I don't see it as a trendy wave. I see it as a thing that's going to be around for the long term. But we're at the early stage where if you get in early, I don't know, I have a suspicion that this is going to be the sneaky thing that takes off for serious businesses or serious journalists or serious writers or serious consultants or serious content creators. I don't know, something about it. I've worked in marketing for almost 20 years. It's 18 years this year. Yeah, 18 years this year. I'm telling you, there's something. Oh, you said agreed. It's something about it. I'm like, nah, this is the real deal. And the Substack CEO and the I don't know who this other guy is. He might be the COO. They're on TikTok, and I think this is the perfect storm of making this type of platform blow up. Transparency there is so refreshing. It's very transparent, which is what we loved about TikTok. A lot of the people who were upset about the change to TikTok since it came back online, we clearly know that it's been compromised. A lot of those people had already moved to Substack because we knew something was going to happen. We didn't think it was this, but we just didn't think it was going to come back, at least not for a while. And so they had already been moving. And prior to this, I know a couple of CEOs that had made Substacks last year. And of course, it was super new. So of course, I was like, I don't feel, you know how we get. I don't want to get on another platform. I don't think this is one of those situations for you to roll your eyes at it. I think if you know that marketing content is important to your business and you're struggling with, I would say, the volume of content that you typically have to do for social media, I would say that this is something, Substack would be something worth looking into because you won't need volume. And I think by the end of this year, the people who got into it really early, with all this news going around about misinformation, censorship, this is the perfect storm of getting on a platform like this that is known for being the complete opposite of that negative stuff that because Meta is just so big that if everyone jumps ship or they're mad at it or they're not using it, they still need an outlet, and you still need an avenue to get your information to people. And think about it. The thing that I thought about, this is the last thing I'm going to say, just for perspective. Right now, I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram, I have LinkedIn, I have email, right? We have newsletters. Substack lets you do all of them in one place, and it emails all of those things to your entire subscribers, which would be followers. All of your subscribers get it in an email and a push notification in their app. Nothing else does that. Newsletter, podcast, blog post, social media e-looking posts, because you can do vertical little quick videos and images and pictures. It's very Tumblr. In one place. There's nothing else that does that. And you have ownership over it. You have ownership over it because you control your publication. There's no censorship because you control it. If you have explicit content, then you just say it's explicit content and then people are warned. But you own that publication. It's like you are hosting your WordPress website. They don't come and say, I don't like what you posted on your website, we're going to take your site. That doesn't happen. They don't say, I don't like what your podcast is talking about, let's take your podcast down. Even though you're hosting it on Buzzsprout or Hello Audio, Hello Audio doesn't come and listen to your podcast and say, I don't like the topic, censored. Apple doesn't say, I don't like your podcast, take it down. Spotify, I'm telling you, it's that, but all in one. Where they do that at? I'm telling y'all, you should look into it. That was all I wanted to share, is that if you think, hi, can people find you on there through search? They sure can. Oh, hey, boo. Yes, they can find you on there through search. They can search your name. They can search, sorry, I'm cooking dinner for Liam. They can find you via search. They can find you via name in the search, or your publication name. So mine is Revolutionary CEO because I already had the podcast name that, but they also, they put you as an author. So say you're an author for obviously your own publication, but then you co-wrote something on someone else's Substack. If they looked up your name, kind of like a podcast, if you go on Apple Podcasts and look up Letitia Lynch, you would see my podcast, Revolutionary CEO, but you know what else you would see? All the other podcasts I've been featured on. That's how Substack is. So yes, people could find you via search. They can also find you through search. It has SEO components to it, which means it can be searched by Google because it's like a little website. I'm telling y'all, I was like, I don't hop on the bandwagon for things very often. Same thing with Threads. I knew when Threads came out that Threads was going to be something big. I never hop on things early, ever. And I'm a marketing, that's my job, is marketing. My job is specifically content. So if there's a new platform, I typically will go to it just to get familiar with it in case clients ask me questions. And I also usually know someone in the industry that is a specialist in that, thing, because I can't be specialist in everything. And I have to have specialists come into my marketing membership. And so I usually know someone. And no one's talking about Substack. But when Threads came out, I was like, oh, this shit about to be hitting. And guess what? I started doing this content strategy service last year. And part of it was an audit. And when I do the audit, I get access to the back end of their websites. And all of these people were like, oh, I just posted a little bit to Threads. I'm like, how many threads do you post? They're like, I don't know, maybe 5 for the whole month. I'm like, it's number 3 for traffic to your website. And Instagram is less than that. And you spend all your damn time on Instagram. And this one new platform is sending you so much traffic. I knew that platform Threads was going to be something, but I didn't think it was going to be that good at traffic to your site. I think that Substack is going to be that. And I don't even think it's necessarily traffic to your site. I think whatever you're posting about, if you talk about your offer, they're going to go look at it because it's long form content. I think they're going to trust you more because you have a whole publication. It's kind of like when someone listens to your podcast. If someone has a podcast, I almost take them more serious because it's almost like you on the radio. Like, you must know what you talk about. When I listen to podcasts, except the guy, like the man podcast where they're talking about nothingness about relationship. Those are the only podcasts that I'd be like, bull. But when I hear business owners and they have a whole podcast, I just automatically take them more serious. It's the same with this Substack, because it's a bunch of like, I'm telling you, it's a bunch of like New York Times reporters who, in Washington Post reporters who left because out of integrity they couldn't stand behind the Washington Post and their lies. That's the kind of people who are moving to Substack. These are like serious journalists from like TV. Not you saying you just created your Substack. Like literally? Literally? Did I sell you on Substack? Girl, look, DM me your link. I'm telling you, I'm glad I talked you into it. But and I didn't mean to make this entire thing about Substack. I was just really hype about it. I was supposed to be encouraging you. That makes me so happy. I'm not gonna lie, that made me so happy. Am I an influencer? No, but see, I mean it from a business perspective. No lie. I'm gonna talk about it in, I have a marketing membership. One of my members was just in here, so I'm definitely gonna talk about it in the membership. Not right now, because I don't wanna tell them stuff and I'm just getting there. I'll share this with them, but I'm gonna my advice would be to check it out. My advice, you're so welcome. My advice would be to just look into it for yourself. That's all I should be saying. Just look into it for yourself. And I hope you know that that's what I mean. Look into it. But I promise you, I'm telling you, like I said, I've been working professionally, not in this online business. I worked in corporate marketing starting back in 2006. And I didn't start this business until 2020. So I was in corporate for a long time. My whole job is, as a marketing person, is studying trends, but also knowing what isn't a trend. And what is not a trend is authenticity. Authenticity has never been a trend. That's why the platforms that allow authenticity perform better. Notice when they take that away from those platforms, like when they start censoring or they start playing with the algorithms, when they mess with those things, that's when people jump ship. Everyone was happy on TikTok because it was the one place that they couldn't mess with people finding you, because it was the place that people found you purely off vibes, purely off of the stuff that you engaged with. It knew. It's like it knew what you liked and it only showed you that stuff. Instagram and like I would say Facebook and stuff, and a lot of these social platforms usually try to force you to look at content that they want you to see because they're pushing certain things. But TikTok was one of the few things that wasn't doing that. Its agenda was, you like this, I'm going to show you a bunch more of this because I want you to stay on this app. And we got addicted to it. That wasn't a trend. And as soon as they took that authenticity away, when they came back with it and it was censored and you could tell that they're trying to push an agenda, we're all like, oh, there goes that. Substack, because you own it, it will never be that. And it's also like a social platform all in one, because it has like a feed where you can see different people's Substacks. So now I can see your blog post if you post a podcast episode all in one place. I could never even market my podcast that easily in my blog post. I would have to make a graphic, and it gives you graphics. Anyway, it's new age. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Maybe I need to make a whole thing just about Substack, but again, I'll do it later when I feel like I've used it long enough. When you make a post, it makes graphics for you so that you can share it, and it makes them in different sizes. It says, use this on Twitter because it's a square. It'll say, use this on Instagram because it's vertical. And it emails those graphics to you so that you can promote it. And it puts like a title, and like sometimes it puts like a little quote from your post. You didn't have to design that. And this is a new platform. So imagine when it's around for a long time and they start adding cooler features for free. For free. I don't know. I'm just saying, fascinated. It was really, really cool. I'm not really ever taken by something. Like, I liked Threads when it came out, but I just liked it because it reminded me of old school Twitter, not because I was fascinated by it. I just thought it was nice. I'm fascinated by Substack. I was actually shocked by how robust it was. It reminds me also of WordPress back in the day, because again, I'm aging myself, which is fine. And I was also a WordPress designer. My bachelor's degree is also in graphic design. And back in the day, what made WordPress superior was the control you had over design. And then they gave you all these cool plugins, but you didn't pay for most of that stuff. You could upgrade, but you could get so much without paying. And that's what Substack is like. It reminds me of the best of everything that we've ever wanted to use to market or to post content or to talk about. It's like the best of all of those things kind of all in one. And I've never seen something like that. And then the quality of people on it is why I'm saying for business, I think it's a big opportunity. I'm never an early adopter for stuff. Facebook was the only thing I was ever an early adopter for. I even got on MySpace late. I never used AIM, and I'm almost 40. I'm 39, so I should have used AIM because that was definitely my time. And all my high school friends were using it. I didn't even use that. And by the time I was getting ready to use it, AOL was like gone. And yeah, I wasn't an early adopter like MySpace. I only had Facebook because I was at the University of Georgia and major schools got it from your email address. And I just got it then. But I didn't even have Instagram when it came out. I was like, this is so stupid. So I'm posting pictures of my food. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I thought it was the dumbest thing. I didn't get Instagram for like 2 years. And I'm telling you, I never talk about something this early, but I was like, I don't know, man. I'll be sharing more stuff. So today I'll give you an example of what I shared on it. So I moved my podcast because I don't have to pay for hosting anymore. I used to use something called Blueberry to host. I have Hello Audio. All that stuff is at least $20 a month. I have Buzzsprout. I've used all of those. That's an investment every month for something I wasn't monetizing. I see what you mean about quality. It's almost surprising to see so many well thought out posts. And she just got on there because I've just been hyping this site up. So she's just getting on there. Thank you for saying that, Chica. I'm telling you, it's shocking. I felt like I was almost in another world. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm almost done, baby. It's really hot. My child is hangry. It's like, it's an amalgamation of all the best social media, long form platforms in one place. So, and I'm saying that, I'm sorry, I'm so winded because I'm weirdly excited about it, but also I'm congested. It's an amalgamation of all those things. And why I'm saying that is because, think about LinkedIn, right? We liked LinkedIn back in the day if you were like a consultant because you felt like social media was for people playing around. But if you went on LinkedIn, you knew there were serious people and you could work with corporations. So I feel like it's like a little bit of that because we see, again, New York Times reporters and analysts and politicians with real publications on there. So you get like that. And then CEOs of Fortune 500 across the world, they have their own publications and you could like talk to them. So it's like that vibe. But then think about podcasts. Like there's podcasts that you normally would have to go in Apple Podcasts to listen to, or you would have to go in Spotify or whatever, Google Play. It's that because it's all in there. So now you can see that in your feed all at once. You don't have to leave that app to listen to it. So now it's that. It's blog posts, full articles. So now you're getting Medium because I feel like it's Medium level because Medium was some serious, some not, but mostly serious, right? So now you're getting Medium quality, long blog posts, but still in the same social media looking feed, you have access to that. And now it's not just a silly person blogging about nothingness. Now you are having, Washington Post reporters who left out of solidarity for the fact that they don't believe CEOs should take over like media, like those type of people had to leave their jobs and they decide they're going to start their own like it's that quality of people that are writing blog posts over there, fully published authors who are legit New York Times bestsellers, just writing a blog post there, and you get it all in your feed. Then there's people going live. So now you get live video and it's the shape of like a YouTube video. So now you're getting YouTube, but for serious people. Not that YouTube isn't for serious people, but a YouTube area that you don't have to go to YouTube to watch. all in one. What is it? It's weird in a cool way. And then also you can just post like little posts like you do on social media, like a quick little tiny post. You don't have to make a publication every time. I haven't used that feature. There's also private messages so people can DM you. Think about that from a sales perspective. Now people can slide into your DMs. Think about that from a perspective of personal branding. Like now you can DM a reporter about something. Imagine the media PR you can get for free, because you can now communicate and you can share an article that you wrote, thought leadership piece, directly to someone who you admire, and they have their publication right there. It's a big opportunity. You can monetize it. You can have private content and then public content all in one place, and you can protect certain pieces of content. So now you can monetize it without, and you can do it through Stripe or whatever, and you didn't have to build a whole website for it. It's just built into the platform. The platform takes care of it. And they take a little piece of it, but all of those platforms take some money from you selling anything. And they should, because we're not paying for any of the other stuff. You can host your podcast for free. I know you can do that with Spotify too, but Spotify is a music app. This app lets you host it for free, and it's not a music-based app. I don't know. Pretty cool opportunity. I done made a whole hour-long conversation about Substack. I did not mean to do that, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and letting me share that. So an example of what I posted, I forgot to share that. Today, I was going through my voice memos, voice memo on an iPhone. And sometimes when I'm driving, if I have a content idea, because, marketing, if I have a content idea, I'll voice memo it to myself. And I didn't realize how much my voice memos sound like I'm talking to someone on the phone. Like it was like me fully talking, and I was talking. And I was like, man, this could be a podcast episode. But what if I don't feel like editing? So I was like, oh yeah, I have Substack now. So I took the audio, because you can download the MP. It's an MPA or M4A file from your phone. I just airdropped it to my desktop, which was an audio file. And you can upload an audio file to Substack and inside of a blog post. I did, and now people can listen to it. I had no idea Substack was such a dynamic, right? Eve, it's so cool. I didn't know either, by the way. So I'm hyping this up, but I just want y'all to know I've only been on there since Sunday. It's Tuesday. I've only been on there since Sunday. And if you were to go to my Substack, y'all would think I've been on there for years. I have so much content, because when I imported because you had to move your whole you had to move your whole podcast. And originally, I just want to share with y'all why. Someone earlier that was in here, I don't know if she's still here, asked what made me want to go over there. So have y'all, I don't know, some of you might have ConvertKit. I will never call it Kit, because it's literally ConvertKit. If any of you have ConvertKit, what I like about ConvertKit is the fact that, you're welcome. The reason I like ConvertKit is because ConvertKit lets you have a feed for like your newsletters. And email marketing is one of my highest conversion marketing channels, which is good because I don't have to show my face. It's an easy channel, and it's the highest ROI marketing platform anyway. But for me, it's also true that it is one of my highest performing, and it doesn't cost me that much time. I'm glad this is helpful. And so anyway, I wanted more people to see my news. My newsletters are really long. If any of you subscribe to my High Ticket Scoop newsletter, it's long. It's very long. It's almost like a blog post. And I was thinking for a long time how much of a waste, not that it's a waste, because the people who do read it, I have about 700 subscribers to it. That's an amazing list. I'm very proud of it. But I want more people to see it. And so I attempted to use the LinkedIn articles for it, 'cause I thought maybe more people would see it. But I was like, it's not getting out there as much as I thought. So then I was like, oh, I'll just make them as blog posts on my website. But I didn't enjoy that. I wanted it to feel like, I wanted people to just be exposed to it. Like if I put it on my little blog site, you have to find it, or I have to promote it. I wanted something to promote it for me without me making social media graphics. So I had been thinking about Substack for a while, and I mostly wanted to use it as a publication for my newsletter. But then when I went on there the other Sunday, I was like, holy shit, it's not just for newsletters or blog posts, that's when I noticed the other stuff. And I was like, live video, podcasts. When I saw that stuff, that's what made me fully go all in on it. And I didn't want to move like my full business stuff, because I believe you should still own your own regular website. My website is my website. I did think it would be a good idea for my podcast and then to just brand that whole little publication as that same name. So now that brand has its own name over there, so that's what I ended up doing. So just some ideas for you guys of maybe how you might leverage it without feeling like now I have a blog on my site and now I have this other thing. You might consider your newsletter now going through there, because you also can download your subscribers from it. You can have the, so they give you their people's email addresses and you can download the CSV file. Isn't that cool too? So not only do you get a social media type looking app with all those cool features, and you also own that, you also own your email list. I'm telling you, nothing, and I should have said this a long time ago. I've been on here for a while. Nothing else does that. So it was a no-brainer for me. I was like, I get my email list, I get free marketing and free visibility. It has SEO. I can host my podcast for free that I've been paying $20 a month into the abyss. I can now move my private podcast, which means I don't have to pay for that anymore, because I was paying for that on Hello Audio. Now I can have it all in one place. Dropping gems. Thanks, Rod. Nice to see you over here from Threads. I only see you over on Threads. But yeah, I'm telling y'all, I'll do a normal length video. I know this was very long and all over the place. I'll do something official once I've used it long enough. So give me about 2 months of fully using it and seeing how it grows naturally. I'm mentioning it casually on stories and like Threads, but I want to see how it kind of naturally grows with me just casually mentioning it and telling my email subscribers that that's where I'm going to start putting my high ticket scoops. That's at least 700 people who will be exposed to it. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see if I get clients or PR, but I know that it's going to be for that. I'm never wrong about these things when it comes to marketing. So I'm telling you guys, if you care about speaking engagements, press, media, that's important to you. If your goal is to be an author, like maybe you all want to publish a book. I know a lot of people who have these businesses, especially coaches that publish books. If you want to be an author, a consultant, if blogging is your preferred marketing platform or marketing channel for long form content, or I would say if even the podcast is your preferred long form content, any of the things that I just mentioned, or if newsletters like email marketing, all that stuff, if those things are important to you, I would look into it. If social media is your thing, then social media is your thing. I love social media, so I'm never leaving Instagram unless they continue to do crazy things. But I like Instagram, and I love Threads. But outside of that, I'm going to go all in on it. Oh, you're welcome, guys. Let me go give my hangry child his food. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I'm going to post this replay because I think it's worth it. Thank y'all for hanging out. Good night.